Alright, well, we're back in Blender, and today we're going to go over animating a tailgate. As you can see, I've got everything cut away here because I don't need it in this video. So basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to find your tailgate panel, and if it's all separated apart like mine is, it's in several different pieces. There's one piece, there's two piece, three, so forth, so on. You'll need to do this step. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find where you want it to bend at, and I took my marker and I stuck it right there where you see the dot, and then let's see here, I'll just go ahead and set, we'll go ahead and just set the geometry. Alright, so there's our marker, right? So let's say I want my marker to be right there. Well, you hit set origin to 3D cursor, and there it is. But you've got to make sure that you get it in the right spot, like where you want it to bend at. And the good way to check is to hit rotate X, and then you can see it rotating around. Of course, that one's not going to help. I need to use this panel, and I'll use this as a reference here. Rotate X. You can see where it's going to rotate at. It's going to rotate right on where that dot's at. Okay, so once you've got your first one, picked, if you accidentally click anywhere, you can hit Shift S, and then you can go cursor, let me make sure I grab the right piece here. There we go. Alright, so I want my cursor to go back there. Hit Shift S, cursor to active, and it puts that cursor right there. Now you can select anything else, and you can see that cursor hasn't moved. So to get your next panel, you want to click on it. Then, yeah, not that one. Accidentally did that one. Let's set origin to geometry there. Alright, so you see the dots up there. So if we want our dot to come down here, we've already got our cursor setting there where the last place was for our last part for our bending. We will set origin to 3D cursor, and it'll land right there. So every piece you want to set to that 3D cursor, and if you accidentally click off, like on, I'm going to use the bumper as an example. So as I clicked off there, if you accidentally click over here or something like that, you right click, left click, whatever, you can always click on your last panel that you did, Shift S, cursor to active, it puts it right there where it needs to be. Then you can click on anything else, set origin to 3D cursor. That's pretty much how you do that. You set it all up to bend the same location. You want to do that with all of your pieces that are going in there. So that little piece, it's right there. That one right there. Jeep right there. The panel right there. Everything. Absolutely every piece that's going to move on this tailgate needs to be centered on that same point. And we'll export it to i3D. What did I name this? Yeah. I'll name it for video. Alright. So that's going to export. Eventually. It does take a little time depending on what all you got going on and your computer speed and all that. I've got a few things running in the background right now, so that's what took so long. Normally, something that small, it's pretty close to instant. So now we're done with Blender. Everything's been set on all your tailgate pieces to that same origin spot. So if they're slightly off, like this Jeep right here, it's slightly off. Something like there, somewhere. Yeah, this panel is slightly off. But that's because I didn't get it in the right spot. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about that and close that. I've already got a good working one. So we're going to go into our GE now. And then for me, I got my tailgate set right here. So for the sake of the video, I'm going to make a transform group. I'm going to import. Where did I save that to? There it is. Alright, I'm going to import those parts. Wait for them to import. There we go. Got. Oh man, I should have deleted everything I didn't need for that. Alright, so then you'll go through and you'll find every piece. Like right there, cylinder 1, cylinder 2. So I'm going to grab those, cut them, put them in a transform group. There's a tailgate. So I'll need it. Don't need that. Don't need that. I don't know what piece this is. Ah, alright. That's my inner panel there. So like Control Z, put it back where it was. Control X, cut it. Put it in transform group. Control V. That way it's all in its own little thing. I will take my original tailgate. That works. And I'm going to hide that. And we'll come back down here. Don't need that, don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. Alright, there's another piece we need. Take it, we'll put it in our transform. We need that, we need that, we need that. So we need these 3 pieces. We'll cut them, put them in our transform. We need that, we need that. So cut those. Don't need that, don't need that. Need that piece. We'll cut it, put it in transform. Scroll through here. I don't need any of this stuff. Tail light stuff. Don't need any of that. More tail light junk that we don't need. Text. There it is. Very last thing. We'll post it in there. Alright, now we're going to find our bed. Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can use the transform group here and move it and then set everything to 0 onto that transform group. Or do it this way. This is the way I do it. Take all your pieces except your tailgate, and you're going to cut them and you're going to paste them inside your tailgate. So that's going to make everything disappear. I need to hide my tailgate light here. We'll go over that too. Alright, so we've got all these pieces are now gone. Like, we don't know where they went. Of course, you got to make sure you turn rigid body off and tangents on and do all your normal stuff over here if you're mapping and all that, but we're not going to go through that. What we're going to focus on is getting everything together here. So you're going to take everything over here and turn it to zeros, and the parts will start lining up because they're all on this transform group, or this point. All the nodes are pointed right here, so every piece will land exactly how it was in GE or in Blender, as long as you set them all up correctly to the same origin spot. So once you put it inside that tailgate, that's the origin spot for the tailgate. You had the origin spot for this piece on the same spot, so it's going to run to the same spot. So every piece in here, translate the X, the Y, the Z, all zeros, and rotate on 0. You go through every single one and make every single one a 0. Now, if you need to finesse a part and get it, setting a little bit better, kind of like this panel right here, where I said I'd messed up placing it, you can come in here and you can still adjust it just like that and get it lined up right where it needs to be lined up at. Or the best idea would be go back to Blender and set the origin correctly and then export it again. That way everything lines up just absolutely perfect, because trying to line it up in GE is a friggin' nightmare. Alright, so now you've got everything inside your tailgate, and whenever next step that you're going to have to figure out is where your starting spot is and where your ending spot is. So oh god, there we go. So we're going to be rotating on this node, so we need to know our start part and where our end is. So we're going to end on X at 0. And then, so it should be 90. Should be straight up, which it is. So 90 and 0. Those are the two numbers you need to keep in mind. So we're going to go ahead and delete that because it's already been done right here. Go to visibility. You can see tailgate, or tailgate panel, and then you can see that doesn't need to be there anymore. All these parts are all at zeros all the way up. So now that we've got all that done, we're going to grab this, we're going to slide it over, move it over to here. Alright, so we know our tailgate panel is at a 90 right now. So we're going to open up our XML, and you're going to want animations, and then your animation name, the node that you're going to be moving, start time, end time, rotation, starter rotation. You're going to put all 3 of your axes in here. So this one is 90, that's where it's starting at, 0, 0, and then our end rotation, remember we put that at a 0, that's opened, End rotation will be 0, 0, 0. Alright. Now, that'll take care of the whole tailgate, seeing as how you put everything in there. If not, you're going to have to script every part on that tailgate, if it's on the same node location, to do the exact same animation. It's just easier to stick it inside that tailgate. It's a lot less XML work. And you got your animation close, and then your closing for your animations. Then your foldable. This is folding parts, tailgate. That's whenever you hit X, it'll open the tailgate and all that, and it should say tailgate. I don't remember if it does or not. And then you close your foldable. It's got to be in foldable, folding parts, folding part, animation name, tailgate, whatever you want to name it. Speed scale, how fast it moves, folding parts, foldable. So all this has to be done so your tailgate moves. Now, on this tailgate, I've got a light. We'll open this back up. As you can see here in my lights, I've got a tailgate light. Right there. Now I've got my lights all set up in their own area. You can put your tailgate light here and call from there, and since it's inside your tailgate, it'll still operate correct. I took it out and I stuck it in my regular lights. So to get your tailgate light to animate, to roll with the tailgate, same speed and all that, you gotta figure out your start and your end. Should still be 90 and 0. Then you come over here, you put in the part, the node number, start time, end time, rotation, starter rotation 90, 0, 0, end rotation 0, 0, 0. That's all you have to do to add your light to get it to work if it's in a different area. So any part anywhere in your in GE, as long as it's on the same rotating spot, the same origin spot, you'll be able to rotate it the exact same without changing any numbers at all. So if you're rotating a hood, you'll have to put the part number there, the hood, the start of the hood, where the start plane of the hood would be, and then the end plane of where the hood would be. So let's see here. We'll do one real quick. Visuals, body. I don't think I have anything on the hood. I think they're all, yeah, they're all set on the same plane. But basically, I'd have to find the location of where I wanted the hood to bend, and then put all my hood parts in their own little area to where it's all on the same orientation, and then I would find where the rotate start and stop would be. So if I was rotating the hood, start at 90, end at 42 or whatever it would be at that node. See, we're calling from this node way down here, this origin. So if it was, the origin was put on the hinges, we would rotate off of that origin, and then our start would be 90 and our end would be, whatever it would be, 75, what have you. So that's how you would do a hood. You do the door the same way, except you're going to be rotating on a different location. So on a door, see if oh yeah, my doors are on their own thing here. Doors. Alright. So if I wanted to open a door, I would singulate my doors. So each door is its own thing. It has its own origin spot on a hinge, probably right next to where that Jeep says. And then on here where it says rotate 90, we would leave that X axis alone. because we're going to be running on the y-axis. So right now my center point, or my doors are on center. So I've got both doors on center, so it's going to look funky for mine. But you can take your door, put your origin spot, and then take all the pieces to your door and line them on the same origin spot. Place all your pieces inside of that door, and then you call that door, and you change the Y axis. As you can see here, you're rotating on that Y, and that would open your doors. So you just need to know your original location. So on this one, it'd be X90, 0 start, and then if we opened it, it would be, you know, negative 26 or positive 46 or whatever there. Then in XML, you would just change right here. So it would be 90. This is your y-axis. So you would add a number here for your start rotation, which would be 0. And your end rotation right here, this is also your y. You would change it to where you moved it to in GE, you know, to where it looked good. And then you would put that number in right there. And if you're running on the z-axis, like this, if you got a part that you want to fold out, you would just change the z-axis. Start at 0, and then run it to where you like it. Find out what that number is. Right now it's negative 6.5. Find out what that number is. Come in here, and then put that number here. It's pretty simple. Hey. You know, if it starts at 90, you know, we're starting at 0 there. The origin of it is 90 degrees on the X, and it looks like it should, but you're rotating on the Z-axis. You would start at 0 and then change the Z-axis here. It's pretty simple. If anybody has issues with it, I'm not going to go through the whole explain everything for every single person like I've been doing. I will make another video on rotating doors and hinges and stuff like that for people that don't quite understand. I'm working on a rollback truck, and that's going to have a lot of these in there. So if I get to that point, I'll show everybody how to animate the rollback. Alright, so at this point we're done with GE. You know, you can click save. I'm not going to do that. You're done with your XML, so you can save it and close it out and all that. And then you can pop up your game, you know, zip it up, put it in your game, and this is what you'll have. And I've not messed with the truck since the last video. As you can tell, it's still scaled wrong by the guy being super small inside this thing. I haven't located him yet, haven't done anything else to it. But you come in here, you see unfold tractor. That's what it says. I don't know why it says unfold tractor. I haven't looked into that yet. But you hit X, and now your tailgate opens. Now, whenever you make an opening tailgate, you're going to need to go into Blender, and you're going to need to build a wall. Because there's no panel there. You know, this is all one solid piece, and I cut every piece apart. The bed was one solid piece, and the top panel was a solid piece with the rest. So I went through and I cut all those pieces apart so I could have an animated tailgate. So whenever you open that tailgate, you're going to have a big hole there. And you're going to have to build a panel to cover that hole. And you're going to have to build a panel to cover the side trim holes. And last but not least, you're going to want a panel on the bottom of your tailgate. As you can see, I can see right through that bottom of that tailgate. So those are all the little pieces that you need to do to make something look good and animate a tailgate. So hopefully this video didn't drone on too long and this helps everybody. And if you have questions, drop them down right here. Don't bother messaging me on Facebook. I'm already pretty busy with other stuff, and I probably won't get back with you. So message me here. Leave a comment on the Facebook page, Cole's Custom FS19 Mods. If you got a profile, Facebook that's older than a year old, that's one mandatory thing. Has to be a year old or you won't be accepted. So yeah, drop a comment down below if you need help. What part you didn't understand, what part I went over too fast, and I'll make another video with the opening doors and everything like that. And yes, you can have opening doors and have the doors disappear. Two separate sections, they'll work fine. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.